Hello and welcome. We are having this special chat on ET Now, putting the spotlight on a group based out of Ahemdabad, which has been in the business of textiles for almost 50 years. Textiles, particularly right now, is going through a very good Goldilocks scenario. Stocks are getting excited on the market, and various segments of textiles are seeing huge growth, both in domestic as well as in global markets. Today, we are talking about the Chiripal group, and the senior professionals and the scion of the group, Ronak Chiripal, is joining me today. Vinay, of course, is the CFO of one of their businesses. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having us.
Ronak, let's start by chatting with you first. Before we get into the business part of it, how is it to be a part of such a dynamic group which has grown over the years, hitting almost $1.5 to $2 billion in turnover over the years? So how was it for the journey? You've seen it firsthand.
So I would definitely say that I'm very fortunate to be born in a family like this. So Ved Prakash ji started this company in 1972. We basically belong to Haryana, and Ved Prakash ji and the three brothers, so the total four families, they migrated to Ahemdabad in 1970s, and that is when Ved Prakash ji started this group. And we started off with 4 looms, and then invested in a process house, came up with another process house, and then ventured into denims, ventured into polyester yarn, polyester fiber, then ventured into Chiripal polyfilms, which is basically a bio-auxiliary polypropylene manufacturing plant. Then we got into towels as a part of home textile division. So while I was growing up, I was always surrounded by discussions of textiles. So while I was growing up, as I said, I was always sure that I wanted to get into the business. I was very excited to, to come back from my education and join the business, and that is what I did. I completed my education in 2014, came back to Ahmedabad, joined the existing line of business, and then we thought of getting into home textiles, because that was a part of textiles, but we wanted to venture into some other vertical. So that is when we thought of getting into a home textile division, and that is how Nandan Terry came into being.
Let's talk about Nandan Terry, which you are directly leading from the front for the group, and it's again a very good time to be in this business. What is your observation on ground when you talk to your clients? What is the demand outlook, and how is it the business is overall right now?
See, the business is growing since last couple of years. So basically, the biggest exporter for home textile industry has been China, India, and Pakistan. And you've seen the scenario how it is going on with China. So a lot of customers are actually moving a lot of business from China to India, which is looking very good for us as as a part of this industry. And especially in last one and a half year, people have been sitting at home. They have been sitting at home, observing their home linens and spending a lot of time changing the linens. So the demand has increased substantially in last 1.5 year, and the industry seems to be growing for the next 5 years.
So what are the focus areas or your focus areas for this next 3, 4, 5 year? If you could share some roadmap.
Sure. So we are looking at 3 or 4 different options. So firstly, definitely, as you said, the industry is growing, and that's why we want to, add some capacity to our existing business line. So we are already looking at an expansion of 25%, which probably would be there by the end of this year. And then probably we want to also add some other verticals. So we are looking at adding some bed linens capacity probably by next year or next couple of years. Also want to expand, increase the top line by around 40 to 50% by the end of next year. So that is what we are looking at. Other than that, we are looking at the capital markets, in order to raise some funds, because we are looking aggressively to add the capacities, as I said. So definitely capital markets are doing pretty good right now. So that is one of the options. We are also looking to launch our own brand. So we really feel that India as a market has still not reached its potential as far as home textile is concerned. So people are still becoming aware of the brands. People are still becoming aware of especially for towels and bed sheets. There have been very few brands dominating the country, and there's a lot of unorganized sector which is actually selling these linens right now. So we are looking to capture that space. We are looking to come up with our own brand probably next year. So we are planning to have a premium brand which would be catering to a high segment, and probably low end or a mid end brand which would probably be focusing on the rural market and the unorganized market. So
So next 5 years, what would your top line breakup look like? How much do you think would be comprising of exports, because that is a buoyant market and demand is going up, and how much can be developed, the domestic market can be developed, as you're saying people are getting more aware, rural is opening up, all of that?
Sure. So if you right now if you see for the towel sales, domestic would be around less than 5% as of now. But I certainly see in next 5 years to grow to 15% of the top line of Nandan Dairy, and probably 80 to 85% should comprise of the export sales.
Okay, great. Vinay, let's shift focus and talk about Vishal Fabrics then. You've been associated with the group for almost 5 years. What are the businesses within Vishal Fabrics as a company, and how are things on ground?
See, if talking about particular about Vishal Fabrics is one of the oldest unit of the group. So Vishal Fabric was incorporated in 1985 with one of the process house in Ahemdabad area of Ahemdabad itself. So it has grown its capacities from starting from say 10 odd million to 105 million meter per annum in the terms of process house. So we came up with the expansion in Vishal Fabric itself in 2014 in the denim bench and ventured into the denim fabric. So that business was commercialized in 2016, and this was modular phase of implementation of project. So project completed in July 18, and currently we are having a 80 million meter per annum capacity to manufacture denim fabric.
Right, and you have a very reasonable size and scale which has been achieved, a shade under 1,000 crore in top line. How do you see it take shape from here on? Because the overall sector is seeing tailwinds. Next 3, 4, 5 years, what's the outlook?
For particularly for the denim segment, if I talk like denim market is growing with its own CAGR of say 5 to 6% globally, and in India we are seeing the CAGR to be grown at the 8 to 10% because acceptability of the denim as a garment is being seen aggressively in the tier 3 cities and the rural India now. So this is how we are seeing the market, we are seeing the domestic market, and particularly for the Vishal Fabrics, if I tell you that pre-COVID we were focused on the domestic market only. But we learned from the COVID and we diversified our portfolio from the domestic to the export segments also. And we were fortunate enough, as we have the legacy of the group in the textile from last 50 years, we were fortunate enough to get the orders of 110 crores in the first years of export denim, and we catered that order in last fiscal year. So export team is aggressively working to add the new baskets, new geographies to its baskets, and we are tapping now Latin America and the European countries as the export markets now.
So how durable does this good time look? Because you are a finance person as well, being a chartered accountant, of course worked with the group closely. Does it appear that the good times may last because it is more durable, or do you think it's just a cyclical good time which has come for the sector?
For India per se, and being in the textile industry for last 5 years, I have been seeing that the shift because of the COVID, as I said, that now the most of the global countries are adopting the policy of China +1. And in the +1 in the term of textile, they are seeing India is the most prominent place to be in. So this is not a cyclic phase of any textile industry which we are seeing. We are seeing this demand will be in the longer term, and we will be catering this in a true.
How are you preparing for it at the group level, adding capacity like Ronak said? How are you adequately funded?
And first of all, I will come on the capacity that in the Vishal Fabrics also we are having a addition of the 25% of capacity. Presently we are catering. So we will be coming up in a modular phase again. 50% of that additional capacity will be installed in this fiscal year, and another 50 will be in the next fiscal year. So post that completion of the capex, we will be having 100 million meter capacity in the Vishal Fabric itself.
Right. Okay, tell me about what's the comparative scenario, because I see when we talk to a lot of textile guys across segments on our channel, in fact I want both of you to tell me how's the comparative scenario. Ronak briefly spoke about global competition, which is favoring India. How is local competition? Because over here many other players such as yours are also getting aggressive, everybody is adding capacity. How is it? How are you seeing it?
See, as I mentioned that we were positioned into the domestic market itself pre-COVID, and we as a group are having a good capture over the domestic market because being into the denims for last 20 years, and another textile segments are also having a good capacity to cater the domestic market. And our presence of the last 50 years into textile itself deposits that how we are catering the domestic, because we started with the domestic only. Exports were afterward added to our whole marketing portfolio.
That's your strength actually.
Yeah,
so, okay, Ronak, coming back to you, you must be sitting in conversations with clients, both domestic as well as overseas. What kind of conversations are happening on pricing? What kind of conversations are happening on quality? Because as I see around, you guys have really upped the game in terms of quality of your products. Can you give us some feedback?
Yeah, so let me tell you. So when we started this company, one thing was very clear for the entire team that we don't want to compromise on the quality part, and we knew that there is a gap of a good quality supplier of home textiles in the country for export as well as for domestic market. So definitely the quality has come out really well. It's been 4.5 years since we started supplying to both the markets, to the domestic market as well as the export markets, and the quality has always been received really well, and we've got repeat orders from most of the customers. So when we sit with customer, of course pricing is always a challenge, and especially at this point when the raw material prices are going haywire, the logistic prices are going haywire, it's becoming a challenge. But the customers do understand, because it's not just India's problem. It's like faced by the entire world. It's everyone is hearing from all the suppliers that the raw material prices are going up. So we talk to our customers, we discuss with our customers regarding the challenges faced by us, and we've been supported by most of our customers in most of the times. And yeah, so I think pricing for any business always is a challenge, when especially there are many other suppliers who are supplying home textile products. So but it's the customers are supporting us.
Okay, which means the sense which I am getting from you is that there is also pricing power with the group. When you're being able to, as he was saying earlier, that it's getting, whenever raw material issues occur, you price it on and it gets absorbed.
So when we started off, for example, of course we did not have that power. Sure. But when we continuously supplied the products to our customers, they realized the quality of the products we are supplying, and they also value us now. So now we, I wouldn't say we have a power, but we make it a point that it's a win-win situation
for both
of us. Yeah.
Great. So tell us a little more about where do you take your learnings from within the group, or do you also look at some of the global companies and their best practices? Because you are fresh blood, you have been trained and educated abroad also, right. So you bring the perspective, an outside perspective as well, foreign perspective also to the group.
So fortunately for business, I have to travel a lot. So as I said, I meet most of the customers, either in US, UK, Europe, wherever I have to travel. I make it a point that at least 3 times a year I meet them. Exception is last 1.5 years, but I make it a point to travel 3 to 4 times a year. So whenever I go there, obviously I visit my customers. I see how they are valuing the products and how they are assessing the products. I see the systems, they've invested a lot in the systems. So I try to learn from all those things and bring it back to our business. But I would say a lot of learning has come from the family itself. Like we have we make it a point every day, either for breakfast or dinner, the entire family, like the 8 of us, with few of our senior members from the group, we sit and discuss about what's happening in the world, what's happening with different businesses of the group, and it's a candid conversation. It's not like a boardroom presentation. It's just no filter conversation where everyone says whatever they feel, and that really has helped me. So I did my MBA. But I don't think I learned so much as I have learned in the last 4 years of practical experience with my family and my senior professionals.
Vinay, you tell, as a professional working in the group for almost 5 years, but it's the group which has got a massive legacy of 5 decades. What have your learnings been?
See, as I was also fortunate enough to be in the group, and I was fortunate enough to be in the touch with the top management in first few months of my joining in the here, and it took me a great learning. Like I started as a professional, I was catering towards the numbers. I was focused to the numbers only. Being a chartered accountant, definitely it works. But as the time elapsed and I grew with the business, I learned about the business acumen from definitely the first generation leader. When we are fortunate that we are working with the first generation, right, starting from Chairman Ved Prakash ji to younger Brijmon ji, to whom I directly report to.
So tell us, you're a numbers guy. Forget for a moment that Ronak is sitting over here. 10,000 crores were achieved over so many decades at this group, right? Turnover, roughly. The next 10,000 crores for the group can potentially come in how many years in your view?
See, as I am seeing the group positioning now in the market and the aggression which we are seeing in the fragmented companies which we are growing into, I personally believe that the next 10,000 crores will be achieved in 4 to 5 years of time frame. We will be adding to the 10,000 crores presently. So if I say in the 2026 or 27, we will be seeing anything between 20 to 25,000 plus crores.
Excellent. On that optimistic note, we'll take a short break over here. On the other side of the break, in the second segment, we'll talk about the education business, which is also, by the way, in a listed company, and also a very exciting unlisted part of the business, which is polyfilms business, packaging, all of that on the other side of the break. Welcome back. Still in conversation with the senior members of the management team of Chiripal Group. Now we are putting the spotlight on the education business and also on their polyfilms business with Mr. Mishra and Neha Sharma both joining us. Mr. Mishra, let's start with you. So polyfilm business is actually the largest revenue contributor of the group. You've been around almost a decade with them. Tell us how this business has grown, and this sector and segment, which is less understood by the market, how is it doing right now?
You see that basically it is a packaging industry is called flexible packaging. The group is the Chiripal group. It is a more than 40 years old group, and their basic business is in the textile. It is core activity textile. They diversified this business in 2009-10. Then they thought the why should not go for the other activities like a non-textile. 2010-11, they thought and first set up one plant that started commercial operation by January 2012. That time it was a very small company. Even nobody has thought that this company within span of 9-10 years will reach at this stage. What we did, the gap of 2 years, we have added one line. Today, in 2012, there is only one single BOPP line. There is two types of film. One is the BOPP, other is the BOPET. The first line in 2012, second line in 2013, third line in 2015. Then suddenly diversified, we are going the PET resin. 2018, we set up the huge capacity of PET resin, that is called chips, PET chips. Again, we set up a very small capacity, very specialized film, which is called the coating film. Then again, we thought that in 2017-18 we should increase our capacity from the existing one and there is a bigger capacity. All even in the country, all the lines are between 40,000 capacity, and the width is 8 meter, 7 to 8 meter. Then we thought, why should not set up a bigger one and bigger width? Sure. Because the day-to-day demand was growing too much in the Indian market. Then in 2017-18, we got a land at Telangana. Telangana, then we thought that why should not go out of Ahemdabad or out of Gujrat. And Telangana, for us, it is a prize. It is one of the biggest prize to set up a plant in south. If you see all the film manufacturing company, they are from north to west, from UP, the Uflex, then Maharashtra, Jindal and Cosmo. Users all over India, whether it is a food packaging, whether it is a textile packaging, whether e-commerce, whether it is a textile, industrial packaging, everywhere throughout the India. South India, that is Hyderabad and Tamil Nadu, are the biggest consumption of the film.
So you had to be near your customers.
Then, the Hyderabad is one of the, I think, the best strategic location in our country, which is very close. It is not far from east and not far from west and not far from south. Within a 1 night journey, you can reach anywhere. By putting a plant at Ahemdabad, you can't sell too much to the east side because of your logistic and all these things. Then we got the land of about 30 acres, and it is very close to Hyderabad airport, only 15 kilometers close to the Sri Salem highway, and we put the plant. Then we thought that we will not set up in plant in Ahemdabad, we will go to Hyderabad. This is our next phase. Now today, after this BOPP plant at Hyderabad, we are the third largest BOPP film in the country. Polyester only one line we have about 38,000, but today in this segment we are more than you can say it is a 1,40,000 capacity of BOPP film.
Excellent. And which you are looking at participating in that growth?
Today, after this, my one BOPET polyester plant is under commissioning. After that, we'll cross 2 lakh, more than 2 lakh metric ton per annum film capacity. Then we have already started another polyester with direct melting. We have to brought one CP plant, and that will go directly to the. Today we are melting the chips, then making the film.
Correct.
Now one plant is coming, CP with polyester. That will direct melt will go to the film, and that film will come. That as per our project, that will come by 2024.
So, roughly speaking, in next 5 years, you don't
Next
rule
5
out.
years, our plan is one BOPP plant, one BOPET. Both will be total together 1 lakh ton.
Which means revenue terms mein how much?
Revenue terms may, if I
2-3x.
sir, one thing, revenue is depend on the price of the crude. If crude is up, your revenue will grow up. We see the quantity.
Okay, volume terms, you can double your volume in next 5 years easily.
Main thing is the quantity, not in terms of the value.
Right. Let's move on and talk about the education business, which is under Shanti Education Initiatives. Tell us, Neha, what all businesses come under this, and what's the exciting part of this business?
The exciting part is education itself, because in a growing country like India, a lot of action is happening in the education sector, and starting from early age education to higher education, you can put your finger anywhere and you will see opportunity there. So it's really good that Chiripal group thought of venturing into education about a decade ago. That is where we have grown the roots, the strong roots and a operational base. And now when India, particularly India in the tier 3 cities, in the semi-urban areas, is ready to take a leap for quality education, we are ready with our infrastructure, our operations, our processes. That excites me the most, our readiness to capture the opportunity which is actually lying on the platter.
Excellent. On that wonderful note, we'll let you guys go. Thank you so much for your time. With that, it's a wrap on this special show which we had planned for you on Chiripal Group, all the various businesses, some already listed and some are looking at capital markets. Thanks very much for watching.